We are a global brand. We are across many countries. We have a long heritage in this industry, and we have a reasonably long heritage in the country. We've been in the country for over the last 4 years plus. We're basically positioned as a challenger brand with an extremely strong commitment to differentiation. Our target consumer commences from the second handset or the third handset space, and we try to lead with the consumer till the seventh or the eighth handset space. That's by and large our focus, which more or less puts us into the entry level of mid-end to the entry level of very high-end. So that's the kind of space that we try to focus upon. The reason why we focus on that space is because that allows us to bring in the maximum differentiation to the consumer and give the consumer a real value proposition where price is sort of a pleasant surprise rather than, it's not cheap, but it's a pleasant surprise. I mean, if you take this phone for example, I mean, when we did the research, the price estimated for this phone was approximately 7,000 rupees. The price is only 4,000 rupees. And it's a lovely phone. It's a 3.2 megapixel. It's one of the most updated chipsets, high processing speed. It has all the social networking functions, etc., etc. And it's the most important thing is we also look at devices or mobiles not as communication devices, but as this is MC170. Yeah, we look at these devices as part of your lifestyle because. If you look at it in reality, you live with your phone far more than you probably live with your mate. You carry your phone from morning to evening. Even when you go to sleep, it's probably next to your bed. It's the only thing that has the courage to wake you up in the middle of the night. So it can intrude your privacy pretty easily. So it's got a personality of its own, right? And it becomes so much an integral part of today's life. So we treat it with a lot of respect. And we obviously try to do an enormous amount of consumer research. And in that process, we try to capture the aspirations of tomorrow and of consumer clusters. See, India is not a very homogeneous country. India is a very heterogeneous country. It's heterogeneous geographically, it's heterogeneous in terms of consumer clusters. So aspirations are different. I mean, if you take a consumer in the Northeast, the likes and dislikes are quite different from that of, say, the West or the East. Or it's quite different. It's like food habits is different. The movies are different. The entertainment is different. Why shouldn't the mobile also be different? We come from an extremely strong brand building background as a group. We have an outstanding track record of building brands, and our core focus is to build brands. We measure success by the fact that does the consumer consider Fly as when he wants to change the device, is the brand sticky? I mean, does he or she look at the same brand again? And that's the objective. So we want to stay with the consumer and give the consumer a lifetime experience. And that's the key focus of the company. So we're basically positioned as a very strong challenger brand with an extremely strong commitment to differentiation. And that's very much part of the DNA. The reason we can achieve that is because we probably are one of the very few companies which actually work from market to product. We do market research. We define the product definitions. We do our own design. We have a very large design and R&D team. We develop our own products, and then we bring these products to the market. Something like the way Samsung works or Nokia works. I mean, not necessarily to that extent, but very much in those philosophies. We embrace consumer clusters very closely. We engage the youth very closely. So there's a lot of focus in terms of addressing certain consumer clusters and opportunities. So, see, this game is a game of chasing white spaces. It's very difficult to pick and choose which space to chase, how long to chase, how to chase, and when to stop chasing it. So whilst on one axis we have consumer clusters, on the other axis we have space clusters, like say music is a space, business enterprise is a space, fashion is a space, sharing the fun is a kind of space, social networking is another space. So we try to take vertical spaces and horizontal consumer clusters and then start engaging those spaces far more closely. So it's a pretty structured, strategic approach to brand. See, the good thing about it is the market is growing. It's an exceptionally rapid growth market. B, the industry is very young. It's trying to catch up. Okay, it's what, a 5-7-year-old industry, right? If you take the parallels of FMCG industry in the country, I've been fortunate. I've been coming back to this country over 15 years, and I had the privilege of looking at this country constantly in snapshots, which allows you to, take a landscape and understand a landscape at a particular point of time. So it's a very fast-growing industry. Obviously, that is giving a lot of space and opportunity to people. There have been a lot of entrants. The question is how many of them have the vision or the strategy or the mission to build a brand, how many of them are opportunistically trading versus how many of them are actually building a brand. And that's probably in the medium term going to differentiate the winners from the laggards. We have a zone called the Flybus zone in our devices. The Flybus zone does offer a whole lot of social networking options. It also it's constantly growing and changing. Depending on consumer clusters, it addresses certain consumer needs. For some clusters, probably astrology is the in thing. For some clusters, Bollywood is the in thing. For some clusters, the stock market is the in thing. So we are trying to embrace some of these spaces and trying to evolve with the consumer and the consumer needs. We at any point of time have roughly about 15 models in the market. We keep refreshing the roadmap practically every quarter, which is not done all in one day, in the sense it's spread over every month. So we keep refreshing the roadmap quite often. But at any point of time, we roughly work with anything between 13 to 17 models. So it's 15. Basically, the route to market strategy is that we have a national distribution system and a national service system. We have distributors all across the country. We have channel partners and retailers all across the country. This is an industry where channel partnership is absolutely a key success factor for 2-3 key reasons. A, that's the route to consumer. B, that's your eyes and ears to the market, because at the end of the day, they are the people who talk to consumers on a daily basis. Who better to ask a question than somebody who interacts with the consumer, right? We do also have a large number of in-store merchandisers or promoters who help the retailer demonstrate the product to the consumer, etc., across the country. And this is augmented with a very powerful service after-sales service system, because at the end of the day, the consumer needs to be happy. Most of our service requirements are not product complaints as much as help. How to use this feature. How do I navigate? How do I have fun with the phone? Kind of type questions. But we see that as part of after-sales service, because it's not a pure play of hardware. It's a play of the consumer interaction with the device. And how do you ensure that the consumer is having fun with the device, and for which you should help the consumer understand the device in its full, right? So we have a national network of distributors and retailers, and we have a national network of service partners. And we've been very fortunate. We're pretty proud of our manpower. We have an exceptionally good team, which has allowed us to bring some of the best partners in the country to the business. Very long and stable relationships. We work in a very facilitative manner with them because we don't treat their business as their business. We treat their business as our business. We are very obsessed about their profitability because if they are not happy, it's going to catch up with you sooner than later. So we tend to manage or facilitate managing and monitoring their business very closely. We are committed to their return on investment. We are committed to their profitability. We are committed to their cost structures. We are committed to their service levels. So it's sort of a seamless relationship that we enjoy in most of the cases with our channel partners. See, it's a very debatable point. Okay, it does help you get eyeballs, but the focus moves away from the product to the person. When you have a very smart, sleek product, for instance, I mean, honestly, I believe this phone is an ambassador by itself. I mean, we are quite confident that our products and the brand could be its own